Hello, thanks for popping by. In this video I'll show you in a bit more detail some more of the winter jobs and improvements on Zephyr 4, starting with the helmsman seat and then replacing the furling gear, refurbishing and varnishing the instrument panel, and a nifty knife holder made by Siggy on his 3D printer. The teak on the helmsman seat is well weathered and a bit tatty. The caulking has shrunk in places and left gaps, so I decided to remove the caulking and replace it and try staining the teak to protect it. Eventually I decided it was probably better to do the refurbishment at home. Well, here's the seat cleaned up. 3 coats of stain on it. It's not teak stain, it's actually light oak, but it looks more like teak than teak. And now I've just got to clean the channels up in between the little blocks of wood and put the caulking seam in. I'm just using some sandpaper to clean the edges of the wooden strips up so that the caulking will stick to it well. The next job is to mask all the way around each of the individual seams. And when that's done, we just need to fill the seams with the caulking material. Then the seams need to be flattened down using a scraper. A little bit tricky this, because none of the seat is flat, so it's all curved, so it was a bit tricky. There we go, all finished, ready to go down to the boat to be fitted. There it is, fitted onto the boat. Be interesting to see how long this stain lasts, but it looks grand at the moment. During the winter I asked the riggers to make some changes to the boom so that it would match the new sails, and while they were there to check over the rigging and the furling gear. They told me the furling gear top swivel was badly worn and the aluminium airfoil was cracked in places and would only get worse and could tear the sail when it was wrapped around it. So the furling gear was replaced. This agile young man went up the mast to undo the top of the forestay, and the whole lot was then removed.
Okay.
Looks the same, but I could not find it.
It's about now that you realise just how tall that mast is, and Zephyr 4's isn't exceptional. The new furling gear comes as a kit of parts and is assembled on site to match the boat. I'm not sure if Jerry reading the instructions is a good thing or not.
I know, I figured I didn't know the right way.
Once the new furling gear is assembled, it's hoisted up the mast and into place.
Oh, that's good. Okay, go on. Hold that'll do for now.
Sure you can. Off you go.
Something hold it. Yeah, just a bit light if I can do it.
You want to push one?
Take your shoes up down there, Hen.
Henry,
down scope.
shoes off when you go down, please.
That'll do. Oh, is it going to push?
Then that agile young man, I wish I could remember his name, shins up the mast again to attach it to the top fitting.
Okay.
Just needs to be tightened up now and the job's done. The wooden instrument panel looked very tired and in places the varnish was worn right through, so I decided to remove it and take it home to refurbish. There are lots of wires for the instruments and I made sure I labelled them all before I disconnected them. I'm going to remove all the varnish off this wood, take it right back to the bare wood, and then we can get a decent few coats of varnish on it. It makes such a difference. I'm using a heat gun just to warm the varnish up, and then a scraper, a flat scraper, one of these things. That's the varnish off. Now the wood's got a bit weathered, so we'll need to sand it down to get it flat. Well, there it is, scraped and sandpapered, and that's nearly as back to original really. The bits around the holes, that's going to be covered by the instruments anyway, so that doesn't matter. So we're ready to start with the first coat of varnish. Because this is teak and it's a little bit oily, I'm just going to wash the area to be varnished with some brush thinner. It also gives you an idea of what it's going to look like when it's varnished. It really brings out the colour of the wood and gets rid of some of the dust and all that sort of stuff. I've got it standing on a couple of plastic boxes here, so I can varnish right round to the round the sides without it sticking to the newspaper. I'm also going to use something called a tack cloth, which I discovered some years ago. And it's just a cloth, but just a bit sticky, and it's great for getting rid of a bit of dust or anything else. It really improves the finish. Probably more important to do this between coats than it is on this first coat, but it's really strange because you wouldn't think there was much to be there, but look at the muck that's come off. So highly recommended, tack cloths. 99p, they're not expensive. Just finishing off with long strokes. This is the first coat anyway, so some of this is going to soak into the wood, and we'll need a few more coats with sanding in between. So, but anyway, that's the first coat. Well, here it is after 6 coats of varnish and the instruments back in their places. all ready to go back down to the boat. Well, here we are back on board again, and I've connected all the cables up to the appropriate numbers, and it's all switched on. And if we look, you can see that it's telling me we've got 9.7, I can't see it, 8.5 feet of water there, and the wind indicator's working, and we've got virtually no wind at the moment. It's absolutely flat calm, and of course the boat's not moving, so that's not working either. But so it's all working. I just need to put some sealant around the edge here, and then screw it back into the housing, which I've cleaned up. And there it is, with its nice new shiny varnish. Okay, I've got a little bit of a problem. I spent a bit of money, not a lot, and bought a set of knives for the boat, but they won't fit in any of the drawers. So I had to scratch my head a bit, and what I decided was I needed one of those. This is Siggy, who's my best mate, and he's also got one of these. This is a 3D printer, and dear Siggy spent some time designing some gadgets that I can screw on the wall of Zephyr 4 and hang the knives in. Here we go. And not only has he done that, but he's also got the name on it, look. Well, there we are. There's the knife rack up on the wall in the galley by the sink. The bottom bit is really necessary, because it's ever so easy to brush your hand against the edge of the knife on the left, as I found to my... In the end we decided that the bottom section was a bit small, so Siggy made this larger version, which really does protect you from the sharp knives. Thank you ever so, Siggy. Well, thank you for watching to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, it really helps us, and you'll get to know about the new videos that are coming along in 2022.